Alright, what's up everybody? We're going to take a look here real quick on how I use simple Elliott waves to analyze the market. The whole thing with any type of wave theory is that the market moves in waves, and I think that's one thing that we can pretty much all agree on is in fact it does move in waves. So you'll have a move up, you'll have a correction, you'll have another move up. Now the part I focus on is identifying the corrective patterns. That's just a flag, a lower degree correction. That's what you want to look for as a buy setup. There's a few different corrective patterns that happen a lot, and I'll show you examples of them too, but basically every type of corrective pattern will start with an impulse, and then once that move happens, you'll have a move sideways, and then you'll get the next move up. So my whole thing is trying to catch this part, the impulse, because who wants to trade when it's sideways? You want to trade when it's trending. The most common corrective pattern is the flat. It consists of three waves. You have a wave, a B wave, and a C wave. So typically your corrective patterns are either going to be 5 or 3 waves. The most common though you'll see is 3 wave. Another variation, this is a bit like a regular flat. Another variation of the flat is what we call an expanded flat, which you have the B wave coming down, C wave coming up that breaks the top, and then comes back down to break the bottom, and then it goes. And I can show you examples of that as well. Go ahead and, in this, like I said, it always starts with an impulse, a move up. And there's also a running flat, which you have a move like that, a move like that that breaks the top, and then a move that comes down shy of breaking the bottom before it goes back up. And that would be a running flat. And there is one more, and it's not in the Elliott wave book, but it's common. It happens where you have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, almost like a triangle, but it's a three wave where it's contracting, where the A wave doesn't, the B wave doesn't break above this portion, and the C wave doesn't break below the A wave. So like I said, it's always going to start with a move up. And the idea is to catch the next move up when it's trending. One other common pattern too that you'll see, not as common, but they happen, and I'll show you an example of this as well, is a triangle where you have a move up. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it'll start going. Now this isn't a foolproof way trade the market, but when you start looking at it like this, and you'll be right a lot of the times, which is, that's what we want to do, is get into the right trades and make a lot of money. Let's take a look at, we'll go through some of the lists, let's take a look at everything. Let's see, on Ether, let's go to the 8 hour. If it loads. That sounds very, trying to get, there we go. It's being slow, hold on. Oh wait, no, that's everything. Alright, so before Ether was being traded, you had a, this is obviously a move up here. Oh, there we go. It's a move up. It didn't start at 13 cents. I believe it started at like 10 cents, a couple pennies. So what you'll have is a one, let me use this one. You have a 1, 2, 3 before resuming the trend. So when patterns like this happen, I like to draw the trend line here. And the confirmation is a break and a correction. So you see how it made this pretty much same pattern in a smaller fractal right here. That's your confirmation that's going to go up. And then when you have that, basically all the little flags become buying opportunities. And then what happens is you'll get another bigger correction. So like I said, they always pull back. You never have to worry about FOMO because eventually it's going to pull back like we've seen with Tron today, which is completely natural. So we have another move up, big wick down. I believe that was the Dow hack. Could be wrong. But notice again, you'll have a 1, 2, 3. And then this is a contracting flat where the second wave, or the B wave, doesn't break the top of this, and the C wave doesn't break the bottom of the A wave. So you have an A, B, C. I thought this was going to be a triangle, but it didn't. So, well, you'll be wrong sometimes, but the point is to notice that if you have a move up and some type of correction, that odds are, 90% of the time it's going to happen again. So that's Ether. Let's take a look at all the majors real quick. And I will get to Fibonacci as well. This is very useful. I think it's slow because of the screen record that I got going on right now. Let's try Litecoin. Maybe that helps. Oh, Bitcoin decided to load. Let's see. Let's load up, cuz. Alright, so Bitcoin, I don't buy Bitcoin. It's just, I'm a pussy. It's just too much money for me. It's too expensive. Hopefully the Lightning Network fixes that. But here, let's take, we can say on the 8 hour. So a lot of people were saying, oh, this is the end of Bitcoin. I was still bullish on it. So you have a 1, 2, 3. So this would be a B breaking the top, coming down to break the bottom. So that's an expansion, more so for the C wave. So it's an expanded flat where you have 1, 2, 3. And we call them flats because it's flat relative to the trend here. So you have a larger degree 3 wave, and then here you have a smaller degree 3 wave that pretty much signals the move up. So let's get this tool out. You have a 1, 2, 3. After breaking the corrective structure trend, you watch for the pullback. That confirms it. And then, like I said, every flag after that becomes buying opportunities. And a flag is just a move like this. So basically, you got the move up, flag, move up. And let's look through the rest of Bitcoin. Where is it? 10. Yeah, so like it works pretty damn good. So you have 1, 2, 3 breaks out of the corrective structure, and then it gives you another flag. This is actually, I wouldn't call this a flag, but it's another corrective flat pattern, just of a smaller degree compared to this one. So it's minuscule compared to that. And same thing here. You have the correction here. They're not all going to fit, perfectly in that 3 wave. You're going to have to use your discretion and know that it's a correction. Partially, you can actually see here, you have, after the sharp move down, it stabilizes and gives you a 1, 2, 3 before going again. So it happens quite a bit, and this is partially the reason I chose to trade with wave theory for technical analysis, because it really is the least subjective way to trade. If you ever looked into wave theory before, you'll notice that people like to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC all over the place, but that's not important, especially when you're in a bull market like this, because every time you see a corrective pattern, just know that eventually it's going to end in an impulse, and you'll get more, moves up. And it's really, honestly, it's just stupid to keep counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you'll go crazy, And if you are familiar with wave theory, you'll know that waves can be extended, and no one knows when a wave will, completely end. So that's why you just want to go with the corrections and go with the trend. Litecoin, very similar structure. Really slow. Litecoin, very similar. So you have an A, B, C. The B wave wasn't expanded, but the C wave had an expansion, so it's is an expanded flat. And then you have uh, basically this correction, and then you have it starting again. Now, is there a good chance that this could come back down before going? Yeah, absolutely. But you want to trade in the direction of the trend. So if you're seeing a breakout of this and you got a pullback, it might be a smart idea to trade with the trend. Something like this, when I see that, I think we're going to have at least one more move down like that to break this bottom before going back up. But sometimes it doesn't happen like that, which is okay. We'll go through some of the alts real quick. I won't try not to have this video too long, but it might end up being kind of long. But you'll definitely be able to see that there's a lot of three-wave patterns. So here, Power Ledger, all these coins too that I'm gonna go over, besides a couple, I've researched and I like the project. Yeah, move up. You have 1, 2, 3, breaking out of this trend. So when you see a flag or something happen before breaking the trend line or anywhere near the trend line, doesn't matter. Typically you're going to have that breakout. And let's see, one we have here is another 1, 2, 3 wave structure. So there's a very good chance on Power Ledger that we come down to break this low. Now they don't always have to, because this would then be a contracting flat if it comes like this and then goes. But I think there's a high chance that we come down, breaking the low, and then resuming the trend. And let's see, this might be an okay one to show you the Fibonacci. I'll show you on a couple, but the Fibonacci extension. So you want to start with the, if you're in an uptrend, you want to start with the low, go up to the high, and then bring it back down to the low. This is good for targets, like take profits. I do take profits a little bit differently, and I'll show you how I do that. If this comes down lower, let's say Power Ledger does come down to here, but doesn't break the low, say it gets really close to it, you're going to want to move your extension to the lowest point. So you have started at the low, go to the high, go back to the low, and then you'll get your Fibonacci extension. This one isn't really the best to do the retracement on, but I'll show you on a couple different ones. So with the retracement tool, you start at the low, bring it up. So basically you're measuring the movement of the corrective pattern, I guess. So you have a move up, you're retracing this, it came down, touched the 88.6% of this move, and then it started going. And that's pretty much all for Power Ledger. So I think there's a high chance that we will come to retest this low before going back up. Cardano, one of my favorites. This one moved very well according to wave structure. And it's just so, with crypto, it's a lot easier than Forex. So that's what I used to do is Forex, but pretty much I can say fuck Forex because I don't like it anymore when you start figuring out crypto. So you have a move up, sideways, boom, you're good. You got another impulse. So here, you can do the fib retracement on here. Came down to the 50, didn't touch the 61.8, but typically you'll see anywhere from the 50 to the 61.8 being tested, sometimes a little bit lower before the next move happens. And what I like to do is fib the impulse. So how I use for targets is I'll fib this move, the first initial move, and my target typically is a negative 270. Cardano, I actually didn't take profit right there. I kept it open for quite some time. and I've only closed a little bit of it compared to some of the others that I have. But target negative 270 because it's you're not being too greedy there. But if you're a long-term hodler, you probably don't really want to take profit like that, or take minimum partial profits when it hits your certain target, and then you just move it to the next one. So I would move it, the fib, starting at the low of this impulse to the high of that impulse, came down, hit the 38.2, almost got to 50%, and then it came. So here, one thing too to show you. Let me go to a lower time frame so it's a little bit easier to see if it loads. There we go. All right, so right here you have basically like a 1, 2, 3, and this move up. So the initial impulses can be really, really small, or rather big and then pull back deep. So at first I was thinking this would come back one more time and bounce, hit the low, then go up. But I noticed the change in the pattern here when it just started getting constricted like that. If you ever see that, there's a very high chance that it's going to break out. And then you have a move up, sideways, move up. Now we're getting a little bit deeper of a sideways move. So I still think that this is going to, keep going. I mean, we might come down a little bit lower. Don't mistake this for a head and shoulders pattern. What a lot of technical analysis people, kind of new getting into it will mistake this as, uh, head, I'm sorry, shoulder, head. They think it's going to do something like this, make another shoulder, and then start coming down. This happens so infrequently. I mean, you can look through the charts and see for yourself. A lot of times, head and shoulders end up being just basically a continuation pattern and not a reversal pattern. This one, I'm upset with this trade. Actually, we won't even look at that. It's not really worth it. IOTA is a good one pretty soon. Here's a good example of where, you can be wrong, which it's completely fine to be wrong, and it's part of trading. So IOTA, I still could be right. So you have a move up. I think this is a 1, 2, 3 corrective pattern. And now you got a sharp move up and you're starting to go sideways. If this comes down or break the low, it can either go back up and actually resume the trend, breaking this top, or it could be a 1, 2, 3, more of a complex correction, come back down to make a new low, and then come back up. And here, let's view it longer term, just so you can see that these patterns happen pretty damn frequently. IOTA, same thing. You have your move up, 1, 2, 3, ready to rock and roll. You start shredding. So every time aggressive entries are on the breakout of this, conservative entries would be on the breakout plus the corrective pattern. Here another perfect example. So you have 1, 2, 3, small move up, flag pattern, and then you start to go. Another flag pattern, and then you start to go. But see, they always pull back. So when you're getting FOMO at, a 377% move and you're buying at the top, and it just fucking slaughters you when it comes back down, and then you just forget about it and you miss it, you're getting FOMO. You'd rather have the 1,000% move up. So always know, you gotta move up, correction, you're gonna get another move up. Ethereum Classic, don't really want to look at that. We'll take a look at Ripple. So here's an example of a triangle, and there is a little bit of a flaw in Elliott's wave theory. That's why I don't really follow the book religiously, but the one, this I guess is a little more advanced, but the one thing that I think Elliott didn't realize is that you can have 3-wave impulses that start the trend. So Dow theory was before Elliott wave theory. I believe it was Charles Dow, and he said that the market moves in 3 waves, 3 waves up, 3 waves down. And then Elliott came along and said that the market moves in 5 waves up and then 3 waves down for progression. But you can still have 3-wave patterns that progress. So you can have a 3-wave pattern, 3-wave pattern, and then progress. So I think if you mix both of that, the 3 waves and the 5 waves, because both exist in the chart, so you can have 5 wave and 3 wave structures. You can have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you have a 1, 2, 3, and then this is where the trend started. So I actually started tracking Ripple right here on my trading view. I have updates on it, and you have a move up, 3 wave correction, move up, and then this is where the triangle happens. So you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you see it starts to constrict, and it takes the form of a triangle. And that's when it's time to buy. So every time, move up, flag, 1, 2, 3 wave correction, 1, 2, 3, you go back up. Now we're at a point here on Ripple where we can get a little bit more complex with the correction, and the Ether chart shows that a little better. So I always look for trendline bounces too, but when you're getting overextended like that, and no divergence, but I'm sure there's divergence on a smaller time frame. When you get overextended like that, you're going to start, it can keep pushing up, but eventually you'll get a deeper correction. They always pull back, so you'll get a deeper correction eventually. And what's happening in this is you just got accumulation. Wyckoff theory or method is good to learn about. Just accumulation and distribution. It's good technical analysts. It's good to mix all of them. The one thing I don't like is indicators all over the chart. I think the patterns will show you a lot more than any indicator would. The only indicator I think is good is some type of oscillator like a MACD or a stock or an RSI that will start to show you divergence and slowing of momentum. Let's see, XRP. I trade most of mine against the Ethereum pair because I just don't like buying Bitcoin. So this is kind of interesting. You'll have a move. Whenever there's no data here, I always assume, rightfully, that this is always a move up. And then you have a 1, 2, 3 before starting to explode on the trend. And here, this pattern is making a bit of a flat here. And this is good too, to show so I'll do another Fibonacci. You just start at the bottom, go to the top, and you're measuring the pullback of the move. And if it's in a downtrend, you do the exact opposite. So you start at the top and go to the bottom. And you can once you get a little bit better with drawing Fibonacci, you can do it a little differently. So sometimes what I like to do is if I'm doing a corrective, like I'm going to draw the fib opposite here because I believe that this is an A wave or the first wave to correction. So I'm drawing it down here. A lot of times when you have expansions where they come up to break this top, a lot of times you'll notice it goes to the negative 270, which would be targets for, like if you're able to short it, that'd be a shorting target before starting to go back up. And so basically fib the impulse, hit at the negative 270 and then started correcting, and then that'd be a buy setup. So you can experiment with it a little bit, see. I would always recommend to backtest yourself and kind of just get an idea of the charts. Chart time, staring at the charts, I wouldn't recommend doing it all day, but definitely helps to kind of sit there and look, what previously happened. Because a lot of the times it'll give you clues. I'm going to try and get through the rest of these for you and not make the video too long. So XLM, same thing, move up. So you always see it, move up, correction, move up, correction. Sometimes they get complex where who cares? As long as you know that you're doing this, eventually you'll have a move up. So every time it comes to the low and you pick up a little bit and you dollar cost average into it, is when that chip pops off, you're going to be happy because, wow, I accumulated some orders in there. I didn't buy all at once and I didn't buy all right here. I let it come back down to the low and you're good to go. Here's a contracting flat pattern where you have this one doesn't break the top, this one doesn't break the bottom, and you start going up. So I think there's a very good chance that we do something like this, coming down, maybe do one of these, come back down before going back up. This would be a perfect buy setup on the If that happens, when you get this, break out, flag, take the trade. Side coin, this one moves very easily. This is good to show you too, so sometimes you'll see that it's kind of in a downtrend, but what you'll see is you start to see it curving, and it will give you divergence most of the time. So divergence is when the oscillator is making opposite of price. So this is low, lower, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. This is lower low, lower low, lower low, starts to curve. So the first trade, it's a real small time frame, but you've seen that here. You got the flag, take the trade. And then you have the move down. So this is a good example of that the flag can happen under the trend line, at the trend line, over the trend line, wherever. But you'll see you got to move up, flag, and it came up. Now, how do you tell the difference between those two? Well, here you have a move up here, but it instantly got reversed. Broke the low, I think. Nope, didn't even basically touch the low and went back up. So you have this move up, and it stays sideways relative to that candle. So that's when you typically know that it's going to break out. Then you have another move up, pull back, move up, pull back, move up. I posted this buy setup in the group, so same thing. You gotta 1, 2, 3, and then you start going. I think we're gonna start pulling back a little bit more here on Sidecoin. You know, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I know a lot of you are in Sidecoin and it'll make you a lot of money. I think eventually here we're gonna get something a little bit more complex and deep before going. Status. I think this is a good project. Moves kind of like Sidecoin. So you start to comes down here, you start to see it starts to curve, move up, correction, never broke this low. You gotta move up, correction, move up, and I think we're gonna get another move up here again eventually. So when I draw trend lines, I never, well, I do, but I don't really. I always figure that they're gonna break out of top trend lines. So when you draw trend lines like this, and trend lines super easy, you're just marking the trend. So when you draw trend lines on the top, they're almost all the time they're gonna break the top. They never just stop at the top. So you draw the trend line on the lows of the moves up. So low, low, drawing this trend line. This trend line here is probably gonna move that a little bit like this on these two moves. So there's a good chance that could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5-wave structure, and then comes back down to this trend line. As for right now, I'm not going to take a buy on this until I see something like that breaking out, gives you a flag, and then take the trade up. But eventually, like every single one, you're going to have a more deeper move down eventually that will come down and then go up. So they always pull back every single time because the market will never move like this unless you're looking at like a yearly Bitcoin chart, but it'll never move completely up. Civic, this is the one that made me start using take profits because my target was just to break this top, and look, it did on, I think that was the McAfee tweet. Broke the top, didn't have a take profit, took profit down here. I earned it again on the breakout of this because I thought we were going back up. Now what I'm thinking is could be a 1, 2, 3. Now we're going back up, or this could be the same thing, but this is the move down. We'll have another move down like that, and then break out. Regardless, I'm keeping the trade. It's a good project. I like it. The bigger pattern in this is basically a 1, 2, 3. So that's kind of why I took the trade. If I see this move and I'm coming down, starting to get divergence where these are making lower lows with oscillators making higher lows, then momentum is dying out on the downside. EOS, we won't look at that. Pay, we won't look at that. This might be a good buy here pretty soon. I missed it. I was going to have order somewhere over here, but I never ended up taking the trade, and it went up quite a bit. I think if this goes something like this, that would be a perfect buy setup to go up. Tron, everybody loves this one. So it never fails, only like 10% of the time, maybe a little more than that. But yeah, move up, you have a pullback, and you get another move up. Pullbacks can get really choppy, like so, but just always remember when you have a move up, you have sideways, you're gonna get another move up. Let's look at the lower time frame on this. All right, beautiful. So basically what happened is you have a 1, 2, 3-wave structure. Now let's see. So now we broke the low, which is always expected. Whenever you see a move like this, so you have this is the first wave in the corrective pattern. Then you have your second wave, which is flat compared to the this move. You'll have another one come down, and this is the time where we start looking for buy setups, where you have, if we get like another couple ones like this, that's the perfect buy setup. Another place where you could use the fib comes down, candle closes basically on the 61.8. You can draw to the wick. It's just, like I said, experiment with, as long as you know how to draw it in the direction of the trend correctly, then you can start experimenting with it and back testing and see, you know, what you can find, what works good. I got a lot more, but we're gonna get through it. Elf, same thing. Move up, sideways, flag, move up. Now we're coming down now. This could make another low, go back up. Maybe it becomes more complex and comes down like this, goes back up like that, goes down like this, and then you have a move up. Regardless, I'm long term in Alpha. I like the project. I'm keeping my trades open. Simple token, like this one a lot too. Starting to load faster there. Slowing down again, but simple token, if it loads, yeah, there we go. Move down, move up, comes out, breaks out, got another move up, breaks out, and now we're starting to pull back again. So you can, with the fibs, start at the low, go up to the top, comes down to 61.8. Same thing, start at the low, go up to the top. It came down to so far basically the 61.8. So this might come a little bit lower, or hell, it might break out right now. Breakout confirmation, let it break out of that structure, pull back, and then go. Request network. I think this one broke out pretty good too. Yep. So if you're noticing a pattern here, is that when you have a move up and a pullback, look for that next move up. So it never fails, only 10% of the time, give or take. But it all happens. So you have a 1, 2, 3, and then you start to go. It's pulling back now. There's always a chance. I always like to look at it with multiple ways happening. Just because you never know how complex it can get and how what's happening in here is there's just a lot of people accumulating orders. When big moves like this happen, there's not a lot of people trading. Most of the time, everyone's trading when it's going sideways like this. So that's a 1, 2, 3. Maybe this goes like that. Maybe it comes back down and then goes back up. But as this in itself can be a complete pattern, the only way you really know is when it breaks out of the top, pulls back like a flag, and then keeps going. But regardless, it's not important because you know that you have taken the trade at the low. Quant stamp. So I posted this in the group. Let me take off that real quick, but this is basically what you look for. So as it is right now, this could possibly be a complete structure. It broke out of this, so this could be an A, B, C, and then we start to go up. However, this is still looking like it will come down. and touch tag this low, break the low, and then come up. So that would be an expanded flat where you have an A, B, C, and then when it gets close to the low and you see this, a move up, a flag, and that's when you take the trade. Wabi. I like Wabi. I think it's a good project. It's kind of moving really choppy. Oops. You have a 1, 2, 3. This could this could be another one that becomes more complex before it actually starts going. So you could have something like that's one. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that wrong. This contracting flat here, so let me see. I get a little confused sometimes, but this is a complete pattern in itself. The 1, 2, 3. It's moving up here. This could do another one like this. Come up maybe, come back down, make another flat, but a little bit lower degree than this one, and then go back up. Regardless though, when you're buying, it's really hard to lose money in the crypto market right now unless you're buying at the top every time and then just panicking, freaking out, and selling your load. Lend. I think this one has more move up. Move up. 1, 2, 3. Breaks out. Gives you a pullback, take the trade. Pullback, take the trade. Deeper pullback. This is still looking like this, so you have a move up. This is staying flat. I think this is gonna break out again. Sonum. Yeah, move down. Start to get divergence. Starts curving a little bit. Breaks out. This one's really choppy too, so this can throw away a lot of people because of how just inconsistent it looks. But eventually, I'm sure that this is going to start taking off. This project's similar to Golem, but I believe they have a working model right now where I think Golem is still working on that. Funfair. The Bitcoin chart on this might be a little bit more complete, but let's say that's the move up, 1, 2, 3, and then you get your next move up. Stratus. There is some hype about this coming to Coinbase, which who knows? I really don't give a shit. Move up, pull back. This is one where this would have thrown me off. I would have think that this move is coming rather sideways to break out of this low. But that didn't happen, and it's no worries, because what it did, broke out, came up here. Now it's making, I'm going to take away this trend line. Now what it's looking like is it's making another pattern. So 1, 2, 3. Eventually I think this is going to go up again. Verge. I took a trade on this finally. Could be wrong. Bought it, but I'm going to keep the trade open. Now I'm starting to think that we're going to come tag this low, which is definitely possible, and it's looking that way. So you have a 1, 2, 3. Break the low. Doesn't have to break it a lot. Can just slightly break it or not break it at all before it goes back up. The reason I took this one here is because it broke out of this trend here. Gave me a 1, 2, 3. I took the trade. Then it pulled back. So now it could be. So you always got to look at it both ways. It could be a 1, 2, 3. This is your corrective trend down. It's going to give you one more down after breaking the low. Start to go. Navcoin. I think this is going to start going eventually too, so I'm going to take away all these fibs. And take this up a little. And I'll fib this real quick. So you start at the low, go to here, and watch it pull back. So it's at the 88.6 now. Maybe it comes down to break one more low, or maybe this is the one that's going to start to curve out and go. As of right now, maybe it's a 1, 2, 3, and then you start to go. Eventually, it should go. I think the tech is awesome on Navcoin for the privacy coin. I was looking into that a little bit. Enigma, this one's been hyped up too a little bit. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see if this gives us a 1, 2, 3 before going. Substratum. I like this project too. I need to research it a little bit more. It's not going fast either. So, alright, I don't know where I left off because I had to go take a piss, but this isn't going really aggressively. There's a chance that maybe this is a 1, 2, 3, and then we start taking off crazily. I always like to think that because you never know. But in the short term, while you're trading it, when it gives you a move up, trade the next move up, trade the next move up. Red, a lot of people have been talking about this one, not necessarily in this group, but it's been getting a lot of attention. Move up, sideways, move up. Arn, this was, somebody wanted to take a look at this one. I haven't researched the project too much, but it's fucking up like a monster right now. So, move up. 1, 2, 3, move up. ADX. This one is kind of tricky. Move up, move down. Now, there's always the potential that, like I said, when I see something like this, I like to think that we have a move up. So this could be a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, coming back down for a C wave. It's a possibility. You never know. Comes here, and then you start taking off crazily. Like, I think Salt had a structure like that, actually. Let me check. Pretty sure. Maybe not. Oh, yep. So basically like a 1, 2, 3 before he started taking off. Now it's just moving like a dickhead. Shit like this, I don't like to trade stuff like this where there's real no defined trend, where it's just up and down, up and down. You could do really good at it as long as, you're taking profit, but this will just get you upset a lot of times. But there's a good chance that this could be a 1, 2, 3, and then it goes back up. Yeah, I think that's about all of them. Sorry for making this video so long, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea that it's really hard to deny that you have a move up, you get 3 waves, and then you get another move up. Or you have a move up, and you get 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you go back up. Check it out. Check out some of the charts yourself, see if you can find some of these patterns, and let's make that fucking money.